Natural Events in the Persian Gulf by Michael, Emma, Victoria, and Brooke.
Hurricanes and storm surges. A storm surge is the malformation of water levels rising higher than sea level, flooding dry land. Tropical storms and hurricanes generate storm surges, which form the drag of wind over the water and low barometric pressure. The height of a storm surge relates to the storm's size, strength, speed, and direction. Storm surges are known for flooding towns and cities, causing property damage and even casualties. Storm surges are
Natural
caused by
Events in the Persian Gulf by Michael, Emma,
or
Victoria,
strong
and
winds
Brooke.
and hurricanes that primarily develop in hurricanes and storm surges. A storm surge is the abnormality of water levels rising higher than sea level and flooding dry land. Tropical storms, the main cause is high winds pushing the seawater towards the coast, form the drag of wind over the water and low barometric pressure. The height of a storm surge relates to the storm's size, strength, speed, and direction. These storm surges are known for flooding towns and cities, causing property damage, power that the wind generates determines. Storm surges are caused by the tropical cyclones or strong winds and hurricanes. This is an example of a hurricane. The formation first, warm water. Storm surge more than 80 degrees water rising higher than sea level and provides energy for the hurricane dry land and causes more evaporation, high winds pushing the seawater towards the coast. Then the winds coming together forces the air. The height of a storm surge relates to the storm's winds flow outward above the storm, allowing these storms to rise. And the humid air rises, making the amount of power that the wind generates. Last, the light winds outside the hurricane steer it and let it grow. This is an
Great
example
Flood
of
of
a
storm
hurricane.
surges.
The formation.
Although the Great Flood was a story
warm
from the
water,
Bible,
which
some
is more than
scientists like
80
Robert
degrees
Ballard are discovering evidence that
Fahrenheit
would prove it
energy
actually
for the
occurred.
hurricane.
Ballard,
causes
an
more
underwater
evaporation,
archaeologist,
making
is on a
humid
mission to
air
find
and
evidence of
clouds.
the Great Flood.
Then the
In an
winds
article
coming
interviewing
together
Ballard, they say
forces the air
that 400
upward.
feet below the surface, they
And
unearthed an
winds
ancient
flow
shoreline.
outward
Proof to
above the
Ballard that
storm,
a catastrophic
allowing the air
event
below
did
to
happen in the
rise.
Black Sea.
Then the humid
Ballard
air
believes that
rises,
this evidence
making the clouds
of a
of the storm.
catastrophe
Last,
some million
the light
years ago.
winds outside the
The
hurricane
Great
steer
Flood
it
could
and
have
let it
very well
grow.
been a storm surge. A storm surge is caused by hurricanes.
Great
often
Flood of
occurred in
storm
the rise of
surges.
sea levels.
Although the Great Flood was a story from
Recent
the Bible,
severe climate change
some
has
scientists like Robert
influenced
Ballard
the
are discovering
frequency of
evidence
storms in the Gulf.
that would
The
prove it
shallow and
actually
warm
occurred.
waters of the
Ballard,
Persian Gulf,
an
where
underwater
cyclones have never been
archaeologist, is on a
recorded,
mission to
might
find
generate
evidence of
the
the
storm
Great
in
Flood.
future.
In an
As a
article
side effect of
interviewing
global warming.
Ballard, they
According
say
to
that 400
study in the
feet below the
Journal of
surface,
Natural
they
Climate
unearthed an
Change.
ancient shoreline.
The Great
Proof
Flood
to Ballard
could have
that
also
a
be considered
catastrophic
a
event
siege.
did happen
siege
in the
are
Black Sea.
Periodic
Ballard believes that
oscillations
this
of water
evidence
of
level
a
set in motion by some
catastrophe
atmospheric
some million
disturbance
years ago.
passing over a great lake.
The Great Flood could have
The
very well
image
been
shows
a storm surge. A
where
storm surge is
the
caused
difference
by
between a
hurricanes
storm
often
surge
occurred
and
in
a
the
storm
rise of sea
tide
levels.
versus a normal high tide. Recent severe climate change has influenced
Marine
the
organisms
frequency
in the
of
Persian
storms
Gulf.
The
Now, the
shallow
biggest
and
threat to
warm
marine
waters of
animals
the Persian
is the
Gulf,
man-made
where
air and
cyclones have never
destruction
been recorded,
caused
might
from the
generate
industry
storms
and
in the
nearby
future
boats.
as a
Leftover
side
fishing
effect of
equipment
global warming.
and other things
According to
also
a
cause a lot of
study
death
in the
in the
Journal
Gulf.
of Natural Climate
To the
Change.
right, we have a graph
The Great
of the
Flood
tidal
could
height
also be
distribution
considered a siege.
um,
A siege are
of the Persian Gulf,
periodic
and we see
oscillations of
throughout the
water
area
levels
that
set
it's
in
very
motion by
high.
some
And this
atmospheric
definitely is a
disturbance passing over a
factor
great lake.
and influences
The image
how
shows
the storm surges
where
occur.
the difference between
Now,
a storm
surface temperature
surge
is
and a
also
storm
another
tide
big factor.
versus
With
a normal high
increased
tide.
surface temperature and hotter waters, it makes it very difficult
organisms
for
in the
any
Persian
type of
Gulf.
marine wildlife. Now, the biggest threat to marine animals is the man-made air and
comfortably.
destruction.
The
Caused
temperature
from the
in the
industry
Gulf
and nearby
has risen
boats.
an
Leftover
average of
fishing
0.6
equipment
degrees
and other
Celsius per
things
decade.
also cause a
Now,
lot
that
of
is
death
about 3
in the
times
Gulf.
faster than the global
To the right,
average
we have
rate,
a graph
which scientists
of the tidal height
say
distribution.
that's very shocking
Because of the Persian Gulf.
It's gonna be very
And we
hard for
see
the animals to
throughout the
adapt
area that
to such a
it's
new
very
environment.
high. And this
Another thing that
definitely is
occurs
a factor
when the animals
and
cannot survive
influences
along
how
with
the
the
storm surges
increased
occur.
surface temperature.
Now, surface
are
temperature
red
is
tides.
also another big
And
factor.
just like high
With
tides, red
increased
tides are
surface
another thing that
temperature
comes
and
along
hotter waters.
it makes it very
with any type of
difficult
natural occurrence.
for any type of
And
marine
these
wildlife
all have an
and
influence
animals to live
on how likely these marine
comfortably.
organisms will be able to
The
survive
temperature
in the Gulf has risen an average of 0.6 degrees Celsius per decade. Now, that is about 3 times faster than the global average rate, which scientists, say that's very shocking because it's going to be very hard for the animals to adapt to such a new environment. Another thing that occurs when the animals cannot survive along with the increased surface temperature are red tides. And just like high tides, red tides are another thing that comes along with any type of natural occurrence. And these all have an influence on how likely these marine organisms will be able to survive in the Gulf.
Geological structure of the Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf is susceptible to storm surges because of geological hazards. Some of these geological hazards are wind, earthquakes, tsunamis, tidal waves, and erosion from currents. Since a storm surge is when there is an abnormal rise of water generated by a storm, the Persian Gulf is bound to be affected because of its shallow water level.